What's the difference between a dirty bus stop and a lobster with breast implants?
I don't
I've
know.
heard this one. I can't remember the name of the answer.
One is a crusty bus station, and the other is a busty press station.
Oh my gosh, that's so good.
When I found that, I was supposed to Ethan and I laughed for like 5 minutes after.
Busty crustacean.
A busty crustacean.
That's really funny. Wow, that one's really good.
That's how we're gonna start the episode.
Yeah,
Did you
do
record
it.
that?
Do it, Ethan.
Yeah, I recorded it. That's
Nice.
how we're starting. Welcome back to Antiheroes Anonymous. Or welcome for the first time. Are you guys actually ready to start?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I
Then-
am now for sure.
Welcome back to Antiheroes Anonymous, or welcome for the first time if it's your first time joining us. I'm Ethan, and I'm the Dungeon Master for this 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons show! You bunch
Yeah,
of busted
something like-
lobsters.
Thank you.
Right. Nick, do you want to start off some introductions, and then I'll do announcements, and we'll go to hell?
Yes. I feel like we started there. But yes.
We're already there.
Hi, I'm Nick. I play Sir Thaddeus Hammerlock, the Human Vengeance Paladin.
I'm Kay. I play Harmony, who is the Tiefling Wild Magic Sorcerer.
I'm Zach. I play Zant, who is a human fighter ranger.
And I am Melissa, and I play Mara, who is a human rogue swashbuckler.
So we premiere our episodes on YouTube every Monday at 7 p.m. Pacific time. We've had some trouble meeting the deadline lately, but we'll do it this time. We use a variety of custom items, as well as a custom wild magic table throughout our show, so be aware of that as you're watching. Our music comes from BattleBards, TabletopAudio, and Incompetech. And the character portraits, which you'll see in the character cards in the top right corner of the screen, were drawn by an artist known as Carrie Peach, who goes by @CarrieDraws on Twitter. Other than that, you can check the video description for links and info to everything I just mentioned and more. And then if you want more information about what we're doing, when we're doing it, etc., you can check out our Twitter @AntiheroesAnon. Other than that, I just hope you enjoy the show, share with your friends, and come back for more. So, a little bit of recap, because I feel like it's been a while for us.
3 weeks?
Yeah.
Yeah. The party, has decided to go after the hag Mother Midnight in her lair on Malbold, the 6th lair of the Nine Hells. To do that, they arrived in Avernus, the 1st lair of the Nine Hells, where they must perform 2 basic tasks. The first of these tasks is to fulfill a debt to a merchant known as Mahadi on behalf of their friend Cial from the interplanar city of Sigil. And the second is to recover the sword of Esanahen, who is Thaddeus' deity, which is rumored to have been lost on this plane when the current archdevil of the plane fell from angelic status into devilhood. The group, upon their initial arrival in Avernus, helped a familiar collection of skulls sitting atop a single body in a battle against a group of demons, and earned a ride on their wonderful metallic hellish contraption across the plains of Avernus towards the river Styx. And so we are picking up with the group of you, and I'll sort of remind you what sort of hellscape you find yourselves in. You are rolling across the plains at an incredible rate in this massive dark metal, spiny, 3-wheeled vehicle, which has seats for all of you, for the most part, and then you're sort of being escorted on the side by a smaller vehicle being being driven by a ghoul whose long tongue is just kind of out and flapping in the wind, a pair of goggles resting over the eyes, which is sort of this 2-wheeled vehicle, but still all like dark metal and spikes all over it. The being driving your vehicle is a skeletal figure, also wearing a pair of goggles over each of its 3 heads' eyes. One of the heads has elemental fire coming off of it. Another one has kind of cold, blue, frosty energy. And the final one crackles with lightning every now and again. And they're just sort of bickering amongst each other back and forth while the group of you are in the back of the vehicles, sort of taking up stations that are essentially amount to weapons stations. There's harpoon throwers. I think there's also a big crane on the back, almost like a claw game claw, which during the battle with the demons you saw it grabbed one of the large demons and dragged it behind the vehicle. And you are racing across this barren wasteland covered in this layer of red dust, which sort of blends into the horizon that is almost just this constant, perpetual, dull, crimson-colored light that seems to have no source and just sort of emanates from the sky itself. And then occasionally you will see emitting from the noxious clouds of gas that cloud the atmosphere a meteor or flaming object of some kind will shoot down across the heavens and crash into the land some way in the distance. And even from your position on the car, with many of these, you can see just incredibly large impacts, rocks and dust flying everywhere each time one of those strikes. And that is where you find yourself, basically, just rushing across
Cruising.
the wastes of Avernus.
Okay.
So I'll get some music and we can get started.
So while we're cruising along, I'm going to tell everyone, oh yeah, by the way, I did some last minute shopping when we were in Sigil, and have some things for you all. So I will hand out 2 greater healing potions to everybody.
Oh,
Each.
Wow.
Wow.
on top of what we already had.
Yes, I got 8. And then I have this. I show everyone the Book of Bodybuilding.
What? A book?
Yeah, it's said to increase your constitution, kind of like when Thaddeus read that book on puzzles or whatever, and he felt like he was more
Right.
capable intellectually. And this is supposed to do the same thing for your for your fortitude. So,
I don't understand how reading a book can strengthen your fortitude.
well, why don't you try it? And hand it to you.
Me?
Yeah. Is Orgris here? Ethan?
Orgrix, yes.
So I'll say, here you go, Sparky.
Thanks.
Well, I mean, if not, someone else can read it, but I think it only works on one person. Because his book,
Like one person ever?
his book dissolved afterwards, right?
Yeah, what did happen to that book I read?
I can't remember what happened to it exactly. But
The-
yes,
as the
it
pages
sort of lost the
Blanked
magic.
out, or it
Yeah.
dissolved or
Yeah,
something?
yeah.
Yeah, I think
That's right.
I left it somewhere. I don't know where.
But it's like empty or unusable.
Yeah.
So yeah, but his book was rendered inert, I guess. So,
Are you sure it's okay that I use it?
what do you guys think? Yeah,
I think it makes a lot of sense.
that's fine.
Oh, well, thanks.
You're welcome. Just make sure
Beep
you.
boop?
You know you just said.
I think so.
He was very rude.
Yeah.
Since
gonna know?
Orgrix kind of has to sit in close proximity to you as you're having this internal discussion, he's basically got his hands where his ear sockets would be and is going la 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 la, as if he doesn't want to hear a word you're saying. His hood with the stuffed devil horns is just kind of flapping back in the wind, revealing the skeletal head.
Are we able to breathe easily? Because with all the dust being kicked up and everything?
It's not pleasant, but yeah,
Okay,
you're
alright.
okay.
Okay.
Though you do get the impression as you're trundling across the wasteland, like you end up like driving right along the banks of lakes of lava and things like that, and it becomes immediately apparent that traveling this wasteland on foot would be very difficult
Good thing.
Yeah,
and
good thing.
tiresome.
Good thing.
Woohoo! I love this thing. I wonder if we can get one and rent it like on other planes. Woohoo!
I may be able to fabricate one. A small version.
Oh boy.
That's awesome!
So after a little while, the skulls kind of stop their bickering in the front, and the sort of frosty one, which you know to be named Cecilia, I believe. Kind of turns around like 180 degrees and faces your direction, and says, "So, what was it you said that brought you here?"
Need to get to the river Styx.
Well, right, but I mean, why? Why are you here? Folks like you don't usually end up here, from what I've gathered in the time that we've been here.
Have an errand?
Good business.
Favors that we need to fulfill.
An agenda.
The fiery one then turns around and sort of in that dull voice that you've come to recognize as Simon's voice, says, "Wait, hold on.
Simon says,
What's an agenda? What are you here for?"
Don't worry about it, Simon. It's just a list of things.
Well, I suppose that your business is your own, but I mean, we owe you a lot for getting us out of the Shadowfell, so if there's anything we could do, I thought maybe we could help out.
Well, we don't know exactly where we're going after the Styx.
Yeah.
Why don't you ask about that thing that you need to find on this plane?
We've been here a little while. It's possible that we might be able to find an answer.
Do you know anything about the Sword of Asanahan?
No. The Sword of who?
Or maybe like the battlefield
Actually,
that I researched?
I just remember the backstory for this skull. I'm not even gonna roll. Well, I know of Asanahan. Yes, that's true. But the Sword of Asanahan? No.
It was the last scene with Zariel, so we thought we were going to try and go see her about it, but we don't know where to find her either.
Zariel? As in Archduke of this
Yes.
realm, Zariel?
That's the one.
Oh boy. Well, I don't know how much we'll be able to help you there. She is, well, I mean, I can't say I've ever met her, but I mean, living here, you do hear tell. You don't want to get on her bad side.
Mm-hmm. I'll tell you what, if we find out where she is from our first stop, then it would be a big favor if you could wait for us and give us a ride there once we find it out.
Roll a persuasion check.
Okay. Ooh. Let's see. 30.
Okay.
Wow.
Basically, the lightning-headed one begins to turn around, and you can see the word "no," like "screw you," forming on its lips. But then both Cecilia and Simon turn to it before it can even get the words out, and just go, "Shut up!" Because now that they're connected, they can sort of read each other's minds a little bit. You know?
Actually, that's probably not nice for at least two of them.
Yeah.
Simon probably doesn't care.
Simon doesn't care. Cecilia says, perhaps, we do need to eventually get back to the field we just left. Now that it's been cleared of demons, we should be able to scavenge some more parts, especially now that this scavenger's been damaged, which is not ideal.
Cecilia, do you have any tricks for carrying a large amount of soul coins?
Well, I've never had any trouble carrying any amount of soul coins.
How many? You want to try mending some of this?
I don't have that spell.
Oh, I thought you did.
No.
Never mind.
I've never. Are you kidding? Harmony's never wanted to fix
I don't
things.
know why I thought you did.
No.
I guess I thought it was in your amulet or something.
I just look at you like, why? How? She's the carpenter.
That's true. Don't have a metal worker on board though.
No.
Well, I'll tell you what. After we drop you off at your next location, if you can figure out where you're going, we'll take you to one more place. Sound good? And then we need to get back to what we were doing.
Alright, that works for us.
Something I look forward to.
What were you doing with the sticks? Just dropping off the boat?
We need Sumahadi, and the way you Sumahadi is you
Oh,
you
that's
toss
right.
a coin into the river.
That's right. Yeah, we'll have a better
We'll
idea
have
of what
to
we need to do once we meet that.
Spend a
person.
certain amount of time before it falls in or something. If there's
Yeah,
something
that
special.
sounds right.
All I remember is that it has to be a platinum coin.
Or you like flip it in your hand or something.
You turn it some
Turn
number
it.
of times.
Oh, okay.
Oh, if I wrote it down.
Pulling up
You
the-
probably did.
I probably did, but it's buried in my notes. But I'm wondering if I put it in here.
Let's see. I didn't write in my note what you have to do. Well, anyways, you guys know
My
how
notes
you-
just say take a platinum coin and toss it into the sticks to track his wandering emporium.
Yeah, I mean that's what I remember. I don't remember any other special processes.
Okay. Fine with me.
So, the machine that you're riding in races across the plains for a little while longer until you see at one point to your left, quite a ways off, so it doesn't present any danger to you, but you can see a incredibly massive battle taking place. And even at this distance, you can make out that the two forces seem to be made of one group of regimented, well-ordered and organized troops that are effectively using strategic formations to clash against this wave of opponents that just slam into them and try and break that formation endlessly. And this battle that you're driving past, even though it's at a distance, it seems as if it eclipses your view of that horizon for maybe an hour. It's just this incredibly massive battle. And then eventually you drive by a land formation and it is blocked out of sight. And around that time is when the land feature that you are searching for, the river Styx, comes into view. And it is unmistakably what you're seeking, because it is this dark, black, purplish, at some places greenish scar of water, if you could call it that, that carves its way across the landscape. And even at this distance, you can sort of see bubbles of terrible, noxious gas coming up off of it in places. And as the vehicle kind of pulls up to the side of it, you get your first glimpses of the river. And as you watch I think it's a smallish creature, maybe it's about the size of a small human or something like that, that is basically just comprised of this purple goo, and it has this horrible, tortured face, pulls itself out of the river and just begins clawing its way. It doesn't seem to have any feet to speak of. It's just this mass of purple goo. And it begins clawing its way, moaning across the plains of Avernus, and that is what you ride up next to.
Do I know what it is?
You could roll an Arcana check at advantage if you want.
Sure.
I'm waiting for
Oh boy. Normal Arcana?
Yep.
16.
Okay. Yeah, this thing, you were braced to see these, but still have seen one in person. It's disgusting. It's absolutely awful. These things are called lemurs. They are in a category of devils known as least devils. Essentially, this is the form that a soul that is corrupted by lawful evil or tempted by a devil takes when it emerges into the nine hells. So you've essentially just witnessed the soul of someone who died elsewhere pulling itself up out of the river Styx. And it is just making these horrible, tortured, moaning noises as it claws.
But it's
way
not
up.
likely to be aggressive.
They're not usually very smart.
We have contract. Or a,
Yeah, wristbands.
yeah.
Even if it were aggressive, though, you know that it wouldn't pose a threat to you.
Right. Okay. Cool. Not a problem. It's just a dead person.
Well, it's not dead though, right? It's not a dead person.
Maybe they lost their life somewhere else and now they are
Oh, I
here.
see.
Soul.
And now that you sort of are sitting on the banks of the river Styx for a few minutes, you see every minute or so, one of these will crawl out at some point that you can see along the river and just begin, like that one, clawing its way across the plains.
Poor souls.
Mm.
Okay. Wow.
Alright, let's summon this dude.
Yeah, do the thing.
You got a coin?
Okay.
1 platinum.
Put in your.
I mean, you can
That-
get one too.
Oh, is it soul coin?
No.
No,
Thought it
it's
was
platinum.
It's just a platinum coin.
Platinum
yeah.
coin. Okay. Okay, flick.
Boop.
We have to say his name.
don't think
3
so.
times.
The coin almost lands on the river as if it were a solid substance for a second, and then it just slowly, with a hissing sound,
Like tar.
sinks down into the water. And as it disappears from view, there's a moment where you wonder if nothing is going to happen, and if you were given bad advice or something like that. But then you hear a low rumble on the horizon, and you look off and you can see these big dust clouds that you recognize from when the 3 skulls, your friends, arrived in their hellish machine, except much bigger.
Oh, jeez.
This dust cloud seems to eclipse the entire field of vision, and it just rolls slowly towards you. And then as it pulls up and the dust cloud kind of wafts over you, you find yourself looking at a sight. You see a collection. You see a collection of brightly colored tents have been set up in almost an instant. And they sort of stand tightly clustered together, creating this oasis of almost like comfort and brightness amidst the dreadful landscape of Avernus. Circling the tents in sort of a horseshoe are these huge infernal war machines, much bigger than the one that you were just riding in. These ones look like they could contain 10, 15 people or so like that. And they are equipped with these horrible looking like flamethrower weapons on the side. And then between the horseshoe and the tents, there are basically these curtains of small rectangular iron plates and lamps that dangle from them. As the dust cloud passes over you, the roaring of the engines of these infernal war machines quiets down. You can hear this soft lilting music, and wonderful smells begin to drift out of this sight, this spectacle, inviting a closer look. And as you sort of draw a little bit closer, you see that there is a sign posted right at the entrance of this sort of horseshoe shape of infernal war machines that seems to just appear in common. And it just says, "All are welcome here. No fighting!" Exclamation point. "No spell casting!" Exclamation point. "No exceptions!" Exclamation point. And standing beyond the sign on the other side of it, you can see a figure who seems to be beckoning you forward with a welcoming smile. It is this sort of dark-skinned man with like a nice sort of beard that comes down to the upper chest area, that is sort of streaked with gray, though it's brown the rest of the way throughout. And he's got like pierced golden ears, and he has this wonderfully jovial smile, and he's got this bandana that just covers the top of his head.
Like my
he's
kind of guy.
dressed in like all these colors and purples and things like that. He looks like this. There you go. And he is standing there in this pose, beckoning you forward. There we go.
It's hard to see at this
Yeah.
distance. Is he human? Does he look human?
He does look human, yeah.
Travel plans to campus have said nothing about this. Okay,
Alright.
great.
Cool.
You look
Hey, don't cheat.
picture
I was trying to show you the
He
picture.
brought it over to show
Oh,
us.
okay. I'm not cheating.
Don't cheat. You're gonna read all about him in
No,
the
I'm
book.
not.
Dragon turtle.
Who are you, Meta Melissa?
I was waiting for it.
It's been a while since she's
I'm
been
gonna say what card.
card.
I have lots of
And
blank cards.
as you draw close and sort of read the sign and spot him, he just says, my friends, welcome to Mahadi's Wandering Emporium. I am Mahadi himself. What can I do for you this fine day in the wastes of Avernus? Come in to my paradise.
Alright.
I go in.
Yeah, I go in.
And we are supposed to settle a debt.
Yes, we should
By
be asking
doing a
him
favor.
what we
Yeah.
can do for him.
So
This is your
Yes,
your
this is
thing.
your
so
thing.
You lead
I
it.
know it's for my big thing. So we'll tell him that Cial sent us.
Ah, Cial. I did hear from them that you would be coming this way, so I take it then that you are, and he kind of looks scrutinizingly around the group of you. Yes, in all the clanky metal armor, you must be Zed.
That's all right. You don't have to go through names just yet.
Yeah, we're looking
we look at
Orgrix.
Orgrix.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, when he got inside of the river Styx, he kind of just went down to the bank.
Oh, he's not with
Okay.
us.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
He actually kind of like rolled up the legs of his pants and stood in it and just kind of went like,
Oh, weird.
yeah.
Okay.
Alright, never mind then. I didn't say that.
So you must be Zant, and I was told to tell by the shield Thaddeus, Sir Thaddeus Hammerlock.
Thank you.
Excuse me.
Thaddeus' mouth had already been open to correct him. And then he
Yeah, and that's
said
sort
it.
of the cue that he realized,
Yeah.
oh shoot, I made a mistake, I've got it wrong.
The marvelous Miss Mara.
Marvelous Miss Mara, of course, and
Nice.
the incredible. I've heard of your magical prowess.
Is that why you have the sign posted?
Oh no, I serve a wide clientele, and
Mhm.
you wouldn't believe how many times this signage has been relevant.
I'd believe it.
But it is to be obeyed.
I understand.
The people I work with, they rely on my ability to enforce that these rules are respected, and I hope that you will be able to keep them as well. But I digress. I'm here to help you as
Well-
much as you are here to help me. So is there anything you need? We have a variety of businesses within the Emporium that are all at your service.
Well, we were told that it was the group of us that were going to be doing a favor for you.
Well, yes, of course. I suppose maybe I can tell you what I would request of the group of you, and then if you need anything in advance of that, I can point you in the direction of a merchant who can
Further in debt.
help you with those issues.
Especially if this one is to look at something.
I know.
But
I know she just spent all the money we got from the shit.
I know that's been all of it. It's not quite a bit.
For now.
So yeah, for now.
Alright. Lay it on us.
Well, let's go talk in a private room, and then once we've worked something out, and you know what you need to do, well then I can point you to any resources you can acquire. And he sort of leads you back into the cluster of tents. And on your way through,
Is the climate different once we pass into the tents?
yes,
Yeah.
before it was like just a couple degrees too hot, and it almost felt that way for each of you. Just like whatever your heat tolerance is, it just felt like slightly too high above it. But once you pass in, it is warm but pleasantly so.
Cool.
Some of the tents you pass by, you see one of them seems to be a fully functional blacksmith, and there are these like fiery snake-like creatures that are attending to the forge, and they actually seem to be working on parts that like the group of you would recognize would probably fit into these massive war machines. They seem to be doing repair for them. And then there's these tiny little creatures that run around the two snakes' heels and kind of like assist them. And these creatures seem to be made of like molten lava, and they have this kind of like wispy, fiery hair. and they are just running back and forth around these fire snakes' feet,
How much more of
assisting
that?
them in the floor. Another place that you pass.
I would think you'd want one really bad.
Not armored.
You going?
Not armored. I've already gotten in.
You pass a tent out of which, just sort of as you're passing, an imp flies out of it, very similar to Moloch, except that it doesn't have like the golden scales that Moloch has. But it has like a scroll tube on its back, and it just runs out of the tent, takes to the sky, and begins flying off. And then soon after, it's followed by another. And as you pass it, Mahadi says, "From here we have From Here to Avernus. It's a messenger service run by a friend of mine, a comrade of many years, Fret Ahala. Fret Allah. There we go.
Ahaha.
Yeah, these names. So if you need any messages delivered to anywhere in the Nine Hells, he will be able to help you out, I'm sure.
Is Moloch visible?
Yes, for like the first time in your travels with Moloch, Moloch is perched proudly and visibly on Harmony's shoulder.
I give him a look. Like, you need to get a message out to someone?
He just kind of shakes his head.
Okay.
Not even your people.
Nope.
Okay.
He just keeps shaking his head. Another business that you pass is actually, well, I'll describe that later. You pass a variety of kind of crazy businesses, but for now, those are the ones that sort of draw the most attention. And then you're brought to the central tent within the horseshoe, and Mahadi throws the curtain aside, and you can see it's kind of this like weird nebulous cloud beyond it, and he just kind of gestures you in.
Yeah, I'll go in.
Yeah, I'll go ahead.
I look at Mara before we go in. Do you think he's a genie?
Wouldn't it be cool? Say we actually met one. So let's say yeah.
Well, we met one.
You don't know that.
We don't. Yeah, we forgot that.
That's true. That's true. We go through.
You find yourself in this beautifully, lavishly appointed room with that is sort of draped with all kinds of like blankets in different colors and things like that, over comfortable looking pillows and couches and things like that that are just sort of arrayed pleasantly in a nice arrangement so that the group of you can kind of sit and face each other. And in the center of these couches, there's like a table that has a plate with just the most gorgeous looking grapes set on the table. And Mahadi follows you in and says, yes, okay. This is my personal establishment within the Wandering Emporium. Welcome one and all to the Infernal Rapture. Here we offer a variety of dining and spa services. Guests of mine though you may be, you'll have to pay for those. And if you want to partake, there is a little contract that needs to be put in place ahead of time, just to ensure that I am paid any dues. I'm sure you're all good for it. But for now, it's just a matter of business. So take a seat, and we'll get started.
Take a seat.
All right.
So I was told that the deal would that I am the debt that is being settled for Sial would be done so on the behalf of you, Mara.
Huh?
Is that correct?
That's correct.
Well, I need you to carry a sensitive bit of cargo across the dangerous plains. You see, normally I don't have any trouble moving things across Avernus, but things are in a bit of a state right now, and it'd be a little bit challenging for me to ensure the safety of the object in question. And it's over the weight limit for courier service, so unfortunately it comes down to you. And he kind of like waves his hand as if he is calling to someone, but there's like no one in sight. And then there's a puff of smoke, and an imp appears in this like beautiful robe as well. And he says, "Yes, Master Mahadi, what is it? What can I do for you?" And gives a very low bow. And he looks down at the creature and says, "Bring the delivery that is going out with these fine adventurers. You know the one." And the imp says, "Yes, right away, sir. Of course." And runs off and comes back just a moment later carrying something that is way too large for it to carry. Like it barely fits in his hands. It's kind of tottering back and forth side to side. But it looks as if it's like a bird cage. It has these golden bars that kind of, it's rounded golden bars that come down to a base. And then sitting within the bird cage is a small creature that is actually bigger than the imp itself that is carrying it. It seems to be, I'm not sure if any of you would have seen an elephant, but if you had, it's basically an elephant in miniature form, maybe around the size of like a halfling or something like that. And it has this radiant golden skin and these fluffy little white wings that come off of its back. And as it comes into the room and sees the group of you, it just kind of gives this smile. And the imp sets the creature down on the table. Hold on, I need to do something here. Okay, there we go. I got worried the laptop was going to try and restart on me, but I postponed it. So
Yeah, there you go. Thanks, Jeff.
hopefully we're okay. But the imp sets the cage down on the table, and Mahadi says, "Right, well, this is the cargo. I need you to take this across the Avernian Waste, and unfortunately I'm actually, due to the state of Avernus at the moment, I'm not sure 100% where you'll need to be taking it, but you need to find, well, an old friend of mine. Her name is Fëanor. She tends to haunt the crypts and the dark necrotic places of the plane. She's especially fond of this one that has been dubbed amongst the natives of this land the Crypt of the Shattered Gibbous. That's a whole thing. If you can just, that might be a good place to start. If you can carry this to her, deliver it to her, let her know it's from me, then my debt, or Cial's debt to me, will be considered clear."
First, let's address the elephant in the room. What is this thing? You like I did there?
All you need to know
So
about,
good. It's the only time I could have said that.
all you need to know about carrying this creature is that it is a celestial being, and that it needs to make it to Fëanor.
Insight check.
Okay, roll one.
Ooh,
Pretty good.
19.
I need to pull up Mahadi's stat block.
And you said the elephant smile that is?
Yep,
Definitely, that's in your pocket.
but it hasn't made a sound or anything like that.
I'm not gonna tell you. You didn't.
What did you say you rolled?
19.
19. He is just smiles, and it's off-putting. You can't really read into his motive, or I mean, what were you trying to get at?
Just whether he's hiding stuff intentionally or.
It's hard to tell. Like, there's just this constant smiling facade.
Okay.
I'm sorry, did you say, can you spell the name of this crypt for us?
Well, that's an odd request, but yes, I can spell it. CRYPT space OF space THE space SHATTERED space.
Oh, I definitely heard shadowed.
Me
as
too.
well.
So did I.
GIBBOUS.
Ah,
Crypt of the Shattered Gibbous.
Shattered. I heard shadow too.
I heard shadowed too. Like that we all wrote shadowed.
Mm.
It's really just what the creatures of this plane call it, anyways. It's not as if it's an official name.
That sounds like a very relevant location.
I was thinking the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yes, Cial did mention that you were connected to Lady Asanahan.
Mm-hmm.
goddess of the gibbous.
Mm-hmm.
So I suppose maybe you will find some
On the
interest
field.
there as well.
All points are converging. Okay, so can I carry this elephant? Can I lift it up?
Yeah, you go to lift up the cage, and it's lighter than you would expect.
Alright.
I mean, it lifts up almost without too much effort on your part.
Okay.
I never get a chance to do this. So I'm gonna say to the elephant, in Celestial. And what's your name?
That was gonna be my next thing. I was
Right.
gonna introduce myself.
Hang up the elephant stat block. The elephant raises its little trunk, opens its mouth, and in melodious celestial, speaks back. Oh, now this is a delight. I haven't spoken celestial with anyone in so long, or at least I think it's been a long time. Well, my name's Lulu. What's your name?
We just buy the elephants. We have money.
I'll introduce us all in turn in Celestial. Nobody else here speaks Celestial, right?
No.
Then definitely in Celestial.
Well, it is absolutely. It's honestly a pleasure to meet you. Are you here to take me away from here?
We're here to take you where you're meant to go.
Oh, I see. And she gets a little crestfallen, and then kind of just goes a little bit silent, lets the conversation drop there.
Charming creature.
A Lulu of an adventure will ensue.
That was a bit of a stretch.
Got a picture of Lulu.
So, are you intending to keep the conversation private with the elephant, or?
No, I'll tell everyone this name is Lulu.
Okay.
That's cute.
All right. Aww. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll pick up Lulu and
Alright.
put her near to us. We're
sounds-
gonna get ready to go, right? We're not gonna hang around and drink or eat anything.
No.
Oh no,
Okay.
none of this pleasure nonsense.
You should be aware that this is the only place within the 9 hells, as far as I'm aware, that food will not taste like ash in your throats. So, if you're hungry,
Did we bring
I
rations
expense.
with us?
I would think we would have. Didn't we talk about that when
Did we
said
talk about it?
we packed up everything?
We did bought some rations.
well, anyways, that is up to you, of course. That is
There's always that with fake food,
That's true. That's
which
also
already
true.
tastes like ash.
Also, good berries.
Yes, also good berries.
I can make it taste
So,
like
we're
anything.
fine.
No magic here.
Not here, but in the hells I can.
Yeah. We'll
Well,
be okay.
We're not really here for the food anyway.
We're not really. I mean, this is what we're here for. So.
Yeah.
Well, if there's nothing that I can be of, that the Infernal Rapture can be of service to you for, then you're welcome to take your bidding and get on your way. Be aware that I myself am something of a representative and diplomat of his Lord Asmodeus, and if you need to broker any meetings with any high-ranking devils or anything like that, the Infernal Rapture is known to serve as a meeting ground for such things.
This
Other
is
than
too
that-
easy.
Yeah, I know, right?
Other than that, you can help yourself to the services of the Firesnake Forge, from here to Avernus, Iker's Away, and Zeneth's Larva
Iker's
Farm.
Away.
Any of those would be happy to serve you.
I already have an idea what that is.
What is that?
Anchors away, probably.
No,
but like
Iker's
what?
Away.
Yeah, I know, but like,
Away.
what,
thinking it's
like,
It sounds like a
Acres
bar
Yeah.
or a
Is it a
tavern
bar?
or.
yeah.
what kind of
some sort
establishment is it?
Yeah.
Can you imagine the
Sea-driven
type
thing.
of
Are we at-
vibrations you get there?
Are we asking him what is Icar's away?
Not, no, but I'm guessing that's one of the things we walked by that we weren't explained.
Yeah, I guess I will ask him if he knows where we can meet or where we can find Zariel.
Oh, well, you know, she is, she can be a little bit difficult to track down, owing to her propensity to actually dive into the flurry of battle herself. unlike many of the archdevils that this lair has seen. And when she's not, slaying demons and flinging them across the battlefield with one fell swoop of her maul, she can be found within her citadel or in one of her many flying fortresses that rove across the lands of Avernus from battlefield to battlefield.
So it sounds difficult.
She's really easy to track down, basically.
So she could be in any number of any one of a dozen places.
Her servants, though, do frequent my establishments. I am, of course, one of the greatest providers for this plane, and in fact for the Hells itself. So I do business with many of her people.
How much would it cost to set up a meeting with her?
Oh, with Zariel herself? A good amount, my friend. She does have several lieutenants who I could easily broker meetings with. There's Bell, her second in command. He's a bit grumpy, but many of the pit fiends are. There is, she has a tiefling she works closely with. His name's Discord. He could be a good contact. He's actually one of the beings who comes here the most frequently. So it's possible that he could be the one.
Yeah, it is funny.
Other than that, there are a few
Also be
other
like really outstanding.
high-ranking devils in her service. Her third and fourth in command. Ethan is struggling to remember their names now. It's in my notes. Haruman and Olanthius, either one of them I could broker a meeting with. There's also, of course, any member of the Dark Eight.
What do you think about this group? Would you like me to know the Tiefling?
Yes.
How much to meet Discord?
Of course it will depend on his schedule, but I can broker a meeting for, say, 3 soul coins.
Couldn't Moloch arrange meeting or one of those imps? Can't we just send a message?
Moloch does whisper in Harmony's ear. He says, actually, he used to work pretty closely with Bell. He was
That way you looked at me, like, especially when you said Bell and Pit Fiend, you gave me a look and I was like, I feel like I should know this, but I don't remember.
He was one of those who was part of the little rebellion that I was in when I lost my seat.
Not on your team?
Oh no, he was with me. He was just a coward and surrendered much earlier than me.
Well.
And so he got to retain most of his
In
stats.
that
He did
case-
get replaced as Archdevil of this plane.
In that case, you might have a message to send after all.
Well, it kind of gives a shrug.
I will relay this information to Thaddeus.
I don't like dealing with another devil. Tiefling is about where I'm comfortable with.
Either way, we can always keep Bell in our pocket for later.
Discord is a fine general, has served in the Blood War for many years. If any mortal creature speaks on Zariel's behalf, it's him.
I say let's set up a meeting with him.
Alright, well, if you're fine with that, then I'll just take your soul points when the meeting actually comes to place. No point in taking them now before anything actually happens. How about I turn you on your way, and we can deal with that when you get back.
Are there any special instructions with regard to Lulu? She need anything special?
No,
Keep her?
I think that she should survive just on her own. They're incredibly resilient creatures. I don't think she's in any danger of dying. If you want to feed her, of course that's fine.
What does she eat?
Oh, I don't know. I've just been feeding her this, that, and the other. What we have in the kitchens of the Infernal Raptures.
What would happen if she escaped the cage?
Well, I hope that you catch her again.
I mean, is she obedient? In other words, Was she mine, or is she in the cage for a reason?
Roll. I guess just a general charisma check.
Oh, that 20.
Oh, nice. Rifles around in his pockets and pulls out a bottle of liquid. It's a dark liquid. And he says, when she gets rambunctious, I find that just splashing her with a little bit of this does the trick, and he hands it to you.
Okay.
Doesn't really answer the question though.
Fine.
And I was going to ask him also, what kind of dangers were you going to face transporting this creature? Why leave it to us?
Ah, yes. Well,
That's a good question. I'm
I
glad
don't-
someone else.
I don't know how new the group of you are here, but do you know anything of the Blood War?
Yes.
Oh, okay, excellent. That makes this a much shorter.
Eternal demons versus devils.
Of course, that's the simplified view of it.
Eternal headache.
And eternal profit for me is another way to look at it. In any case, it's currently surging in the favor of the demons. One of their powerful entities, they call them demon lords, made a personal incursion into the plane not long ago, and actually no longer even in Avernus. Made it down to the next layer. Is currently Dispater's problem, but the demons that have remained in his wake make it difficult, considering how many of Hell's forces have been forced to move down into Dis to cover that layer. It's just we're operating with many fewer legions than normal.
Okay. So it's just wartime things. You're not worried about.
It is actually quite exceptional, and I normally wouldn't give in to gossiping, but since Azariel became the Archduke of this layer, there hasn't been an incursion that got through past the first layer of the Hells. This is the first time in recorded history, in fact. So that under her rule, there were instances before, of course, but that's neither here nor there.
And you're not worried about any entities specifically targeting this transaction?
Oh no, not that I'm aware of. It's just,
Okay.
well, it's dangerous out there, and I can't risk any of my higher-ranking officials to transport it. So here you are.
Sure.
Here.
You said you represent Asmodeus.
Yes, I am, by Asmodeus's decree, the only one who is capable of servicing, providing merchant services to this layer and the others. And I also act as something of an ambassador on his behalf.
So he's commodious to Asmodeus.
I'm even authorized to make some powerful bargains on his behalf if there's anything that I can do to grant your desires.
I was more wondering, do you know how he feels about this demon lord getting past Zariel?
Well, I'm sure he's not concerned with that.
Just cracking yourself up over there.
What's her reaction? Okay.
The demon lords are always repelled, one way or another.
Can I get an insight check here?
Sure.
I know that I'm not likely to succeed, but give it a shot.
Oh
Natural one.
no.
I rolled a 4, so there was a chance.
So it's a 3, yeah.
Like there's been luck on that.
I don't think
His
it was a 4 plus whatever he's got.
Oh yeah.
yeah, his jovial visage hasn't slipped.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I want to roll insight on what I asked him to.
What was it you asked him?
If there's some
Oh, right.
other reason,
Okay, go for
I'm
it.
trying to dig into why us, why this task. It's not very good, but that's a 14.
Unfortunately, there is not much that you can glean from his
That's fine.
posture or anything like that.
Got it. Smoothie.
Okay, so do we need directions to this shadowed Gibbons crypt?
Gibbous?
Gibbous.
Shattered Gibbous?
Yeah.
Shadows.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, directions across the plain of Avernus are difficult sometimes. However,
Ask
if
for a
you
ride.
set out with that destination in mind, it is likely that you will get there.
Okay.
We have a ride.
It just may take some time.
Yeah.
Oh, you have a ride.
We do.
Actually, I do recall seeing a tiny little machine parked out there.
Wow.
We prefer right side.
This guy.
Hey, size isn't everything, you know.
Is there?
Says Shorty.
If
Good
anything
things come in
should
small
happen
packages.
to your machine, my blacksmiths are more than capable of repairs there. So keep that in mind.
Good to know.
Very commodious.
Well,
All right,
that's
let's
what
go
we
out
need,
and
yeah.
let them know that there's a blacksmith and see if we need repairs now or after.
Because they were saying something about damage, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So.
Okay. So, thank you very much. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. It was a pleasure.
I'm
I
sure
look
we'll be
forward to
back.
doing more business with you in the future.
You
When
wanna-
you've returned after completing this mission. I do want to stress though, you do need to ensure that Fëanor knows that this gift is from me.
Do
How
we-
would we prove it?
How do we find or know when we meet Fëanor who Fëanor is?
Well, she has quite the presence. It'd be hard to miss her. She tends to prefer dressing in white, one of the few people I know in this place that does. She also has a bit of a fascination with death and decay. You'll know her when you see her.
Do we need to come back here after the task is complete?
Well, if you want your meeting with Discord, yes.
Oh, true.
Also, we're coming back to the sticks anyway.
Yeah.
Fair point.
Yes. What will you take as proof that we delivered Lulu? Do you want
That's a
her
really
to
good
sign?
question.
Do you want her to sign something, or?
Yeah, that's a good point.
'Cause otherwise, we just store.
Doubles of contracts, so I mean.
I think that
But she is.
yes, he produces
Well, maybe, I don't know.
a piece of paper, writes out a few sentences on it, and then gives it to you and says, just sign here, and then everything will be in place.
Uh-oh.
Her sign or Fëanor's sign?
Mara's signature.
I want to read that. before
I
you
know.
sign,
It is in Infernal. I don't know if you speak it.
I do.
We do.
Okay.
All the rest of us do.
Yeah. Oh, you do, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Then one of you can, as you read it, make an insight check at advantage, since you're working together.
Do you want?
You have the highest insight.
I can do it.
I think you do, yeah. Mine's only +2.
Here we go. Here we go. What to do?
Oh!
Oh yeah.
Wait, what was that one?
18.
Oh, great.
Front die.
So that's a 26. What do I know?
Essentially, there are some tricky clauses in there.
Said a couple sentences. How many clauses get a couple sentences?
In Infernal, you could fit a lot of
Okay,
clauses.
alright, hey, you know what?
Infernal is
All right,
designed
you
for
got me.
contracts.
You got me. Alright.
It's true.
There are a couple tricky clauses in there that you manage to parse out and figure out what they're getting at. And essentially, if Mara doesn't deliver the elephant to Fëanor, and there's not really a time stipulation on there, but if the action does not happen, then Mara is in debt to Mahadi of some years of service, essentially.
So I'm gonna counter offer his thing and say, how about instead of this part about years of service, how about he just gets the debt that Seal had? Certainly that's not the same amount, or else Seal would not have offered years of service.
Well, you are a shrewd one. Roll a persuasion check.
Can someone help me with that?
Yeah, I mean, Thaddeus
Yes.
is looking a little formidable, you know.
Yeah.
I'd say that, yeah, you can
Go
take
for it.
advantage.
Oh, I
Oh,
want you to do it.
Yeah.
Well, you're the one that made
Yeah,
the
you-
offer,
yeah,
so you
you're right,
gotta
you're right.
roll.
I can help, but you don't get my +11 bonus.
I would
here.
love to have your plus
Or
11
my
bonus.
+11 bonus.
I got a 12.
12? He says, well, I'm sure, the thing is, I'm sure that you intend to fulfill on this bargain. I just can't have you getting off light because this is a very valuable asset if something goes wrong. So how about I just reduce this number here? And so instead of something like 15 years or something like that, it's reduced down to like 3 years.
I mean, it's Mara though. Like, this is you. I'm just. What do you think?
I mean, we're
We
gonna
weren't-
deliver it.
Yeah. The other thing is we weren't told we had to sign anything from
No.
CL.
Well,
So
CL didn't tell us much of anything.
I don't
Except
think-
we needed to report.
why do we even have to sign something?
This is proof that
This is
we're
just a
delivering
favor.
it.
Yeah, you asked for how do we prove we deliver
Yeah,
it. This is
I
how we did
Proof.
it.
I was thinking more along the lines of you give us a document for the lady to sign, and then we bring it back to you with her signature that you'd recognize. That
Well, that's the
receipt
thing,
upon
though,
delivery.
Such things can be forged. This cannot.
Mm.
And don't take this the wrong way, but you strike me as the sort of group that could pull off a sneaky switch like that.
I look at Moloch and
Well-
say, "What do you think?"
Moloch takes a look at the contract and says, well, look, if we intend to deliver, boss, then this shouldn't be a problem. It's not like there's any souls on the line or anything
That's
like
true.
that.
He's not asking to own you forever.
Yeah, that's,
Well,
that's
I'll
okay.
hand it to
It's
Mara and
just-
say it's up to you.
My only concern is things that get out
We
of our
could
control.
switch this years of service for
That's why I
a number of
asked
soul
about it.
coins, if you like.
That's why I asked about it.
That's you.
Escaping,
Once.
you know, does it have a tendency to escape? Bless you.
5, 6.
You can keep talking. I'm
Yeah.
listening.
You're one short.
If you are absolutely against it, I would be okay
He finished it
switching
for
this
me.
numbers of service, number of years of service for, let's say, a number of soul coins, something in the ballpark of 15.
We can't even carry 15.
Well, we can deliver them 2 at a time. Or 8 at a time.
Okay.
All right. He takes it back,
We're gonna deliver it.
pulls out a new piece of paper, scribbles some sentences on there, presents it
Been
again.
here for 30
We
years.
read it.
No, make another
Oh, again?
insight check.
With
at
advantage.
Alright.
With the big numbers.
That's a 27.
27. Okay, easy enough.
Put on my glasses again. Reader's glasses.
You can tell that he didn't like the fact that you found those clauses before, and so he tried again to sort of like.
So I'm gonna like.
Well, no, hold on. Let me finish. He
Yeah.
tried again to like fix the wording to make it unintelligible, but the terms that you just discussed are implemented there. So effectively, what's happening is
It's more jargony, but
it's more jargony, but like the terms that you discussed are in there.
So
And
You
it's
didn't
just-
no-
try. You didn't try to pull a fast one on us.
there's
There's
nothing
nothing
sneaky.
hidden.
He just wanted to make it so that you'd have to scratch your head
Mm.
reading it, and you didn't have to.
Yeah, it's not. I just gonna give him like a look.
Do we want to look around the bazaar? I don't know.
Sure. On our way out.
Oh
That's fine.
man.
I'm so tired of shopping.
Me too, honestly.
I,
We're
I
never
don't
gonna get
want
out of
anything.
here.
But Ethan
I'm
honestly
just kinda
did seem
curious.
kind of excited to show us that one place, so let's hear it.
Yeah.
As you take your leave, Mahadi kind of escorts you back out of the chamber. You've got Lulu's cage in hand. And as you leave the tent behind, he stands in the entrance and just sort of waves you out and says, "Best of luck on your ventures. I do pray that everything goes according to plan and that there are no complications to be had. And please do convey my best of wishes to Fiona." And he just gives us a big smile and a wave, and you are off down the path of tents. And you don't get very far before you see one that wasn't open before. The flaps have been pulled back, and there's a sign out front that reads, finding it. Zaneth's Larva Farm.
Great.
Oh no.
And you can see this old, wizened, hunched creature. You've maybe never seen a creature like this before. They look sort of like a taller goblin, but with this like crimson skin. And you can tell that this figure was probably an intimidating warrior at one point. But in their old age, they've lost a little bit of freedom of movement in their body. And this figure is putting out racks, very familiar looking racks
Oh,
with,
I know. Yeah.
hanging from them by chains.
Is this the same person?
No,
Okay.
but they seem to be selling the same wares. These like humanoid-sized larvae with people's faces on the front of them, like frozen in these horrific screams. And as this figure is setting out their wares, there is another figure standing not a little ways off and sort of watching and waiting for the shop to be open. And you recognize the hunched, old woman-like form of Polly, the old woman who was selling these creatures in Sigil and was dragged off by the harmonium. And she spots you, and her eyes light up. And there's another figure that she is, actually 3 small figures that she is sitting next to. And she says something to the group of them, and they all just stand up. They're in these, they're basically harmony-sized, but they're in these dark robes. They all stand up and sort of shoot to attention. And she begins to walk, sort of hobble her old little way across the way towards you.
Can I insight check her?
Yeah, roll an insight check.
It's like all I'm doing tonight. It's like a natural
Join the
one.
club.
That's a 3.
That's a lot of bad insight checks tonight.
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, you can't tell anything about her intention, but she is definitely headed for the group of you.
Oh boy. I'm gonna stand behind Zant.
Okay.
As she gets closer, I'm trying to remember who it is. I think it's just Harmony. Harmony, you recognize the 3 little figures that are with her as well. They are 3 goblins in dark cloaks, who, the last time you saw them, they were prisoners in the same hull of Mercer Nightclaw's ship that you were taken to. But they disappeared before you could go back there. Somehow they escaped their prison. And they're trailing in this old woman's wake. And she comes up to you. Yeah, but they're obviously the same goblins, because the goblins were dressed in these same robes. There were 3 of them, and as you get a closer look at them, they seem to have like the same like facial identifying features as well. The old woman comes up to the group of you and says,
I recognize you. I saw you in Sigil.
and kind of peeks around Thaddeus' side and says, and you.
I'm behind Zant.
Oh, behind Zant, and says, and you. I know you.
Why?
Your name's Harmony.
Says who?
Oh, Auntie Polly, she just knows.
Is she a hag?
Obviously, yes.
Okay, so I didn't remember if she was a hag or not.
Obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, she doesn't look hag-like right now. She's
Yeah.
obviously got some kind of
I had a peg for
disguise.
hag basically since she appeared in Sigil.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, right.
But you know enough at this point, having dealt with hags, that yes, this old woman is clearly a hag of some kind.
We're laughing at this one.
oh yeah.
Which one?
Abyssal chicken?
You see it? Yeah, okay.
I've seen the Abyssal Chicken.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's great.
Oof.
So,
Well, that's nice. And we can sleep.
Yeah,
We're busy.
cool.
Where do you know her from?
Do you have to ask?
I know all about you. And actually, now that I think about it, I know each and every one of you. My mother told me of you. As she was nursing me into well, what I am now.
Fuck me. Is she familiar at all? Like, beyond knowing her from Sigil?
Roll a perception check.
Fuck me.
Bad night for these.
Is it worth Tides of Chaos? I think it is. I'm gonna Tides of Chaos this shit. Give me a good one.
That's not a good one.
It's The same? No, it's worse. Okay, cool. 11.
11. Even with that, I think that there is enough, like especially as you begin to think back, like connections are being drawn here. You think back to the last time you saw Ronan, when she was in. Mother Midnight flew into the hut with Ronan on the back of a broom, and her growth had been accelerated. And so she was sort of a young girl at that point. The facial features line up.
Oh.
In fact, I don't think it hurts anything now that you're here for me to say I've thoroughly enjoyed watching the group of you. And she rummages in a little bag at her side and pulls out a unicorn stuffed animal and just begins to stroke it.
Glad to see it got back to you safely.
You and your mother damaged one of my stuffies.
Well, that's what
It wasn't
happens
very nice
when
of
you. Yeah, that's what happens when you cross boundaries without asking permission.
Oh, well. You and me, well, we've known each other for a long time, it feels like. There's no need for permission among such, well...
Yeah, there kinda is.
No, not when your fates are so entwined as ours. I don't think so.
Where's your mother, Ronan?
Well, she doesn't come out of the sixth layer of the hells very often anymore, but...
Where in the
she'll be
sixth layer
delighted
is
to
she?
know that you're here. Finally.
Yeah, we're here and we're coming to see her, so
Oh, I think that's what she wants.
you tell her we're on our way.
Yeah. She lets out this kind of like girlish laugh that is very off-putting coming out of this old woman. And I'm not going to attempt to do it.
Oh, I really wish you would.
No, I'm not going to do it. But it is unnerving. And she says,
I don't think she's very afraid.
Neither are we.
Well, that's excellent.
Keep waiting
So
for
where to now, friends?
Well, we're leaving.
I've missed watching the group of you. I have, really. It's been fascinating, and especially you, Harmony. I feel, I don't know, when I'm watching you, or when I was watching your mother, I felt like I could still feel Tal's presence a little bit, you know?
Tal's gone,
Oh, I know. I heard. But,
and Alan misses you.
and I miss him. I would like nothing more for him than for him to be here. with
Why
me.
don't-
But, of course, Mother has her rules. No boys allowed.
We have to leave now, Ronan.
Alright, well, you can be on your way.
I have a feeling we'll run into each other again.
Yes, of course. I mean, I have to purchase some larvae anyway, so there's no need for sad parties. We're gonna see each other again very soon, I think. And she gives this crooked smile.
I just look at the group and then just start walking away.
Yep. Walk away.
as the group of you begin to walk away, the three goblins begin to follow after you, and they just kind of, when you turn around to look at them, they like turn around and start whistling, that sort of thing.
That's disturbing.
Yep.
You said we recognize these goblins from the Nightclaw ship?
Yeah, they were imprisoned in the hull of the Nightclaw ship. I think Harmony was
I'm
the
the
only
only
one who
one
saw
that-
them.
okay.
as well.
Okay.
Yeah. Because what else weird? What more weird things can happen today? Do they follow us out of the market area?
If you leave,
We are leaving.
We are
Yeah.
leaving. I think we're all.
as you walk past the sign that kind of decorates the entrance to this, they stop just behind it and just kind of lean against it and watch you go.
That's good for their safety. Oh, what is Ikers away?
Oh, do you want to try and spot it?
Yes.
Roll a perception check.
Okay. 23.
23, yep. You see a tent that it seems to be operated by a man in these dark robes. Looks to be a wizard of some kind. And he has this shop within his tent that has bottles of bubbling black liquid just kind of arrayed on the shelves.
Okay. Not what I thought it would be.
And you recognize it to be the demon ichor that you coated the hull of the ship with. Essentially.
Ah, I see.
Can I ask?
A couple other important things about this man that you see though. Doesn't seem to have arms. His arms have been replaced by tentacles, like octopus tentacles.
Great.
That sort of hang down by his feet. And then
I can do
his. It doesn't seem to have ears on the side of his head.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like this.
Common theme.
Does the bottles that he sells look anything like the bottle that Hadi gave tomorrow?
The bottle shape is the same, but the liquids inside seem different.
Okay.
The one that he gave Mara was more of like a brownish, greenish, brackish type liquid, and these are kind of like pure, like tar black.
Okay. I just want to be sure that we won't get poor demon acre on Lulu,
Poor
which
little
seems like a
Lulu.
really mean thing to do.
We shouldn't have to do anything.
Yeah. Hopefully.
Let's get out of here.
Yes.
Yep.
Please.
Let's talk to Carl and his
Simon
friend.
and
I
Cecilia.
have a question.
Uh-huh.
Retroactive question.
Mm-hmm.
Back when I was doing all of the research on hags, did I come across anything about reversing a transformation?
I don't think so.
Okay. That's it.
Okay.
We'll go back to,
I was going to ask that after the session.
we'll go back to,
I wanna-
what's the faces? Carl and Cecilia and Simon.
I also want to make sure that she didn't like place anything on us.
Okay. Yeah.
like the
roll
goblins.
like an investigation check.
Sure.
To kind of go
I'll
through
help you.
everyone's stuff.
Okay. That is a 25.
In well, no, I don't think you'd find anything.
Okay. I would like ask people, be like, hang on, I'm gonna make sure she's doing funny business.
Yeah. I'll look through our stuff. I think we all look through our stuff.
Yeah.
But we don't find it.
Don't find anything?
Okay.
Nope.
Alright.
Cool.
Well, let's
Great.
get here then. Or us.
Yeah. Let's go back to the good old Skull Lord and their infernal machine.
Okay.
Yep. As you approach, they're kind of the three of them are kind of walking around the machine and evaluating them for damage and things like that. And they turn to you, and Carl says, "Oh, done already? That was quick."
We've got another destination. Do you need repairs?
And Carl looks over towards Cecilia and Simon, or sorry, not
Simon
Carl,
looks-
Simon looks over towards
That's probably just
Cecilia
automatic.
And Carl.
and Carl.
It's just
And Carl
pre-programmed
says,
into the machine that does it.
Yeah, of course we need repairs. Look at this thing.
Well, there's a repair shop inside. You can get it fixed real quick before we go.
You've got time for that?
Sure.
No hurry.
Doesn't matter. I mean, it's our machine anyways. Your
Exactly.
schedule doesn't matter. We're just gonna do it.
Uh-huh.
We're going in.
and basically it turns as if to walk, and then the body doesn't move. And Cecilia says, "Is there actually time?"
Yeah, of course.
Oh, okay. In that case, and then the body turns. And the Skull Lord disappears for some time, and eventually you
Way
see
better
them
than Call
return.
Love.
And the information they received is, it does sound as if it would take perhaps a day of time working on this machine to repair it, and then also some gold, and we don't happen to have any gold. It's really weird. No
We'll
one
sell you
down here deals in gold.
We'll sell you some soul coins for some gold.
We can't
rather,
carry anymore.
we'll give you some gold for some soul coins.
That's the other problem.
Well,
we only have the 2 soul coins, so we're operating on a limited amount of fuel for the machine to begin with.
Does the machine have enough in it to make its way to the
Shattered Gibbous.
the crypt of the Shattered Gibbous and back?
Maybe not back, but to there, perhaps. And maybe there's... That's a weird destination. Maybe there will be some soul coins we can scavenge around there or along the way.
Worth a look.
There tend to be long forgotten battlefields across the wastes.
Is this just fuel we're talking about? Because I'm talking about the repair-wise.
Oh, it'll hold together. It's just we don't want to get in too many more fights with it at this point.
Okay. Yeah, because maybe we can make our trip first, and then we can pay to have it repaired as payment for the trip.
We already paid.
Yeah.
What?
We fought with them.
Or it's like a sign of a good faith gesture or whatever.
They could pay for our meeting.
Or that.
We can't
We
carry.
can work something out.
We can't carry enough soul coins, but they can.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that's true.
How many soul coins did he say for a meeting? I should write it.
3.
3?
I mean, that's not a lot, and that's kind of what we brought them for.
That's a lot. It's like 2,000 gold or something.
But I mean, how many do we have?
6.
It's like, it's quite a bit.
Yeah, some of us
So,
have 2,
just for a
and some
meeting,
of us have.
If,
Like,
if
I
we
only have
can
1.
if we can
Okay.
pay for their repairs in gold, which we have plenty of,
Mm-hmm.
do we
And
have
then they
plenty
can
of?
pay
We have
for
quite a bit. It depends on how much
How
it
much the
costs.
repairs
Yeah,
cost.
I don't know.
And
I
then
don't
we
know the
get
scale.
and then we get them to pay for the meeting. That works out really well for us because we don't have to give any of our soul coins.
That's probably the preferred way to do it.
But if they don't have enough soul coins to fuel their machine to go there and back, then they're not going to have enough soul coins to
so
pay
we'll
for
just
a
try
meeting.
and scavenge.
Yeah,
I guess we'll just.
Yeah, we'll wing it.
There's no time duration on this delivery, I guess, so we can spend our time.
But the main thing I was asking was, can it wait to be repaired until after our trip? And it seems like it can. So
Yeah.
let's go now.
Sure.
Yes, I agree.
Well, all right then. Let's get out of here.
Okay.
Daddy, say
Does
goodbye
your
to
friend
Mother.
need to come? And the Skull points to the river Styx where you can see your guide has basically thrown off the rope entirely. Is just doing like
Breaststroke.
laps of different swimming strokes in the river.
I feel like he probably wants to stay here, but maybe you should have talked to him. Daddy.
What
Me?
does his
Sure.
skin look like when he's diving in?
It's just
I mean,
kind of-
does the purple coat his skin or?
No, it's like it rolls off.
Ew.
Like a water on a duck's back, it just
Ew.
doesn't even
Hydrophobic.
sink, it doesn't even sink in at all.
Yeah, I'll call it to you, navigator.
Kind of like looks up, spits some water out,
Water.
looks in your direction.
We're going off somewhere. You want to come, or we prefer to stay here?
He kind of trudges out, pulls the robe back on. Well, you're gonna come back here, right here, and then we'll sail from here eventually, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the plan.
Shrugs. I'll just wait here.
Is there a landmark or something nearby?
He looks up and down the river and says, I'll tell you what. Somewhere you should be able to find from anywhere, and any denizen of this plane should be able to point you in the direction. I'll meet you by the Pillar of Skulls.
Okay.
Look, it's a better landmark than the...
No, I believe you.
what is the other one called? Well, I don't remember. Anyways, anyone will know how to get there, and it's relatively close to the border of this plane, so it's a good launching point anyways.
Where is it from where we are right now?
It kind of points down the river.
And we can't see anything like a monument or something? No.
But you'll know it when you see it.
Sure.
Seems to be a theme on this plane.
Okay.
Alright, let's go then.
Yep.
Yeah.
You all go to pile into the infernal machine, and as you approach it, you hear a noise coming from the driver's seat. And it is a familiar noise. It just goes...
Is that one of the ones I summoned last time?
How is it still alive?
They just jumped it. They just ran away. Yeah.
Okay.
You hop up onto the machine and you can see that this tiny little boggle has strapped one of the pairs of goggles onto its face and is playing with the steering wheel.
That's so cute. I'm gonna make sure all of my shiny things are tucked away in my bag. Like, really, really tucked away.
The Skull Lord sees that this thing is in its driver's seat and basically tries to punt it off the edge with its foot. But the thing sticks to its foot and just it's a whole comedy of errors as this thing is just trying to like.
I wouldn't. Oh dear.
Is it just going to stick there?
As long as it wants to.
It reaches down and like pulls it off. This thing's your responsibility. You just like hands it back.
Oh dear. I may chant it. I'm like holding it with Mage Hand like this. And I'm just gonna Mage Hand it down
It's
to
just
the
like
ground.
dripping.
I'll Mage Hand it down to the ground and set it down gently and say, stay.
It's still wearing the goggles.
Do you
The boggling goggles.
do you want your goggles
I'll get
back?
the
Bottle goggles.
Cecilia says, "No,
We don't even need them.
I know.
I think we'll be
For
okay.
fashion.
We do have a windshield, and there's like a piece of dusty glass in front. So.
All right, let's go.
All right.
All right. With that, the engine of the Infernal War Machine roars to life again. Obviously, still running off the charge of the same soul coin. And as it does so this time, now that you're getting used to these machines, underneath the roar, you can hear like the sound of shrieks and screams of pain. But that's quickly drowned out by the sound of grinding gears and machinery as this thing begins to roll across the
Yeah, this
plains
place
of
is
Valencia.
actually pretty awful.
Welcome to hell!
Yeah.
Hey, let's talk about Lulu for a second. Now that we're out of the bazaar.
Sure.
The elephant, I mean, if you set the cage down and are kind of sat around it, she is just kind of looking up at each of you with the biggest eyes, just one at a time, looking from one to the next.
You read the contract, right?
Yes.
Once we make delivery, is there anything we are bound to do after that?
No.
Once this thing is in Fiona's hands, what are our obligations?
Nothing.
You have to make sure that she knows it's a gift from Mahadi,
Yep.
and essentially just do your best to make sure it is delivered with like grace and good faith, that sort of thing.
Sure.
Wait, is the good faith actually part of the contract?
Like, it's not worded specifically enough that it can stipulate your actions, but you're supposed to do your best to make sure that, like, the gift is received well.
Sure.
Yeah.
But if-
nothing after.
But if a traveling thief were to steal it back,
Yes.
after that,
It's out of our hands.
it's out of our hands.
It's just looking up at all of you.
What
These big eyes. Just
I put a finger through the cage, through the bars of the
kind of
cage.
recoils
I
back
don't
against
think
the
I
other
hurt
side. It's like pulling its trunk
Do you
back
have
over.
some of that stuff you feed Pinky? Do you have some treats for Pinky? Can I have one?
I think I'm gonna tell Lulu in Celestial. Don't worry, everything's gonna be okay.
I have one of Mara's treats for Pinky, and I put it through the bars of the cage like this.
It's like still hanging back from it.
I use Mage Hand to do it. And I step back 5 feet.
Kind of takes its trunk and flips it out.
Oh, dang.
But then Thaddeus, you say, what? Everything's going to be okay?
Don't worry, everything's gonna be okay.
Okay, and I give,
And
I give a
she
treat
turns
to you
back
to
to
give to
Oh, okay.
her.
she turns back to you
Mhm.
and says, "I'm usually a pretty good judge of character, or at least I feel like I am. I guess I can't remember, but you don't seem like a bad person. But you're working with bad people."
Comes with the territory. But we're working to undermine these bad people.
Where's your shield, by the way?
Where does Thaddeus keep it?
On his back.
I guess strapped to his back. Yeah, most of the time.
I don't really understand certain things. I mean, if you're a good person, I don't understand why you're doing this to me.
Wow. Guilt trip.
I know.
Why aren't you letting me out of this cage and letting me escape from this place?
Because that would put another dear friend of mine in bondage. What we're working out to do is to
Not
make
anymore.
so that both of you can live free.
It's either or though.
No, he changed it to soul points.
Is it just is it equivalent amounts though? One or the other? Or one?
No.
Okay.
He changed it
Oh, he
from
changed
years
it.
of service
I see.
to 15
I understand
soul
now.
points.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's what I'm going to tell her. Don't worry. We're going to work it so that both you and Mara can be free.
Roll just a charisma check.
Okay.
Oh
Great.
no!
Again, this is a third natural one session. This is a 6.
Okay. She looks up at you, and you can see it's the look of a child who has like just learned the concept of distrust. You know, like she wants to believe you, but she's afraid to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the best I can do for you, Lulu.
Okay. Well, maybe you can tell me a little bit about yourself, at least.
Sure.
I haven't, like I said, I don't think I've spoken to anyone in Celestial in a very, very long time, and even if you're working with bad people, it's nice to hear it.
Yeah, I'll tell her about myself and Celestial, and about me and about Asanahan, and about my vow.
When you mention that you're in service to Asanahan, Lulu says, "Oh, I know her.
What, like personally?
I've met her.
So.
At least I think. Oh, it's all so foggy." But at the very least, the name rings a bell, and it conjures to mind a certain image of a woman. But I don't know. Maybe I haven't.
Do you know anything about her sword?
There's a bit of light in Lulu's eyes, and she says, yes, I think. And then the distrust creeps back in and says, no, I don't.
I think, okay, the way I want to word this is, Lulu, the reason we're working with bad people is because we need that sword, but if I could work with you, a good person, to get it, then I wouldn't need to work with the bad people.
But no one is supposed to hold that sword except my very best friend in the world,
Who is that?
Zariel.
Oh no!
I don't like this place.
You've got a lot of teaching to do.
That soundbot sucks.
Let's just go back to the material plane and end the campaign.
I know, we're done. We're
Yeah,
taking
give up.
too much of an emotional
Give
beating
up.
tonight.
Level 19 is not good enough.
That was true at one time, Lulu. But Asanahan personally asked me to go get it from Zariel.
Well, that can't be right. She gave it to Zariel, and then we were supposed to come here.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and then something happened. I don't remember. And then I remember. That's right. Oh, I do. She kind of bites her tongue. Like you can see, she actually kind of has to physically like bite her, like clamp her mouth shut.
Uh-huh. What happened?
I can't say.
You can't or you won't?
I don't trust you yet.
Oh, what can I do to make you trust me? What if I let you out for just a few minutes?
That's like exactly what
Her
Mara's
eyes
been
get
afraid of this entire time.
Her eyes get big, and she says, "That could help."
Okay.
You're doomed. How does it feel to be doomed?
Reaches over to open
Go smack! I don't understand what you're saying, but I
Remember,
smack
Lulu,
his
just
hand.
for a few minutes.
No! I smack his hand.
Stop.
Whip goes around the cage.
Are you like swinging the cage around?
Yep. No,
I
the
know,
whip
he's
goes
wrapping
around
the
it.
whip around the
Tying it.
outside.
Yeah. At this point,
The heck are you doing?
This is important.
No!
I need a conclusion to be reached here before I continue narrating.
Do we need to like make an opposed check? Do I like need to defend against your whip or something?
Well, she's
Where are we? Out in the open? There's
We're
no
just
way.
driving. We're driving.
Yeah.
on the vehicle.
Yeah, or in the vehicle.
Yeah, there's no way. If we were inside a building, I would say
We're
yes.
inside the vehicle. We're in enclosed space, sort of.
It's like an open top vehicle.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I thought we were like
like
down in the
big
hole.
Like a big
motorcycle.
Oh, we can
Convertible
go
thing.
there. Right? We just go in there and then come back.
Going where?
Into the there's like a held area world of vehicles, are those smaller vehicles, right? The garage.
Oh, yeah.
We're moving though.
Yeah.
We're traveling.
Stop the car, go in the garage.
We're
do
not
the
stopping
thing.
the car so he can let her out of the
2 minutes.
cage.
Like 2
Yeah,
minutes.
no.
There also is no garage. I don't know.
Wait, I thought where the little
The
vehicles
garage
come
was
out?
inside of the bazaar.
No. I thought you said like a gate opened and like these vehicles came out or something, or
No.
are they just attached? Or are they just?
They
next
were
to it?
just riding alongside.
Oh, never mind then. I'm
Yeah.
just like totally
There's
fabricating
no
this.
hole. This thing is maybe a little bit bigger than like a large pickup truck, and you guys are effectively in like the bed of the pickup trucks. There's no like
Oh,
hole
this is
for you
really
to go
small.
down into.
I thought it was
or
way
anything
bigger.
like
Okay.
Huh. Yeah, I guess I thought that we were like in a room with the Skull Lord.
that. No.
No.
Okay.
They're in kind of like a seat, just like in front of you, and
Okay.
then there's like a partition, and then
Okay.
the group of you.
If
in the back.
you let me try to whip around one of its legs, it can get up and fly get out and fly for a little bit. But there's no.
Deal.
Oh, no.
Deal.
Okay.
So you tie up its legs.
Yeah.
Just
Oh,
one leg.
one round, one leg.
Hold on a second. Let me look something up here. This
Well,
is
welcome
something
to
I've
knowing
wanted to
Thaddeus.
use- This is something I've wanted to use for a long time.
Oh no.
Here we go. I'm looking up the rules for tying knots.
And remember, Mara is a sailor, so
Yeah.
Well,
She
who's
will
tying the
know.
knot? Is it that
it's
is
Mara.
Mara. Mara's the one who cares about
Can
this.
you make an intelligence sleight of hand check?
Oh no.
So it's a sleight
Oh,
of hand
so you
check,
have sleight
but
of hand.
instead of dexterity, you add your
Does she still
intelligence.
have proficiency?
Oh yeah, so you're fine. Right?
Yeah, you can't
That's
roll
your-
less than a
your
10.
ones.
Right.
So use your intelligence modifier and your proficiency
It's
bonus.
0.
And then you
Okay.
just, so
Just
just
add your
subtract 5.
proficiency bonus.
Yeah, you did, or just add the proficiency.
Mhm.
Whichever one's easier. It's okay, it's a 10.
So that's
It's a
10.
And then
Plus-
what would your bonus
Plus
normally be?
6.
Is your sleight of hand double proficiency?
My sleight of hand is a plus 17.
So it's
So it's plus 12.
It's double proficiency?
it's proficiency and a half plus dex. So yeah, it's a plus 12 exactly.
Yeah.
Proficiency and a half?
Yeah, isn't that what that's
No,
how you would
double-
get that number?
Expertise is double proficiency.
Yeah,
right?
so
Then how's
it's
it-
12. It would be 12 plus her dex, but it's not her dex, it's her int. So it's
So
just
you-
12.
So 22
So
total.
22 total. She can't roll less than a 22.
Very good. So you
6 plus
tie
6.
what
Oh,
feels like a
proficiency
very
6.
sturdy knot around one of
Making stuff
Lulu's
up.
tiny little elephant legs, and open up the cage. There's a very simple latch on the
Mhm.
front. It's kind of curious how Lulu hasn't used her trunk to open it up.
Do you forget
This is
I'm a spellcaster?
Definitely a magical cage.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, keep going.
Okay. I'm just reading the rest of
Yeah.
the rules for.
And I
for knots.
think I'm explaining like to Lulu as this is game. Now Lulu, we have to keep you on a tether because we're going very fast, and we can only keep you out for a little while. But once this is all over, you will be free.
Okay. And she kind of tentatively comes out, flaps her little wings, and kind of rises up off the ground a little bit. But then the car is moving really fast, so she's kind of like yanked back down. And she is basically standing there in the middle of the circle of the group of you. And she looks around each and every one of you, and like a bullet, boom,
Hold on,
darts
sir.
the other way. Hold on, I'm gonna just make an attempt to break out of the knot first.
Okay.
DC is 22 though, so Lulu's not very dexterous. She probably won't make it out of this. She basically is like a balloon being dragged behind a car.
Oh,
She's beating her wings as hard as she can, but she can't escape the knot, and she can just be reeled right back.
Okay.
All right, Lulu, you were bad, and now you have to go back into the cage.
No, please don't put me back in. I'll be good, I promise.
don't believe you.
Insight check.
Look,
now.
We can't
your knots
understand
are
the
obviously
I know.
very good. I can't get away even if I tried. And for the first time since Lulu appeared, Thaddeus, up till now, you've been the only one able to communicate with Lulu.
Mhm.
but each of you hears in your head telepathically, sort of as if it were in a language you understood, a voice. And you can instantly realize that it is emanating from Lulu, and she just says to each of you, "You'll be nice to me, please, right? You'll let me go? You won't keep me here?
Not
Yes, you
for
have to promise." This isn't Thaddeus.
Oh, okay. Not
Everyone else.
Everyone else is okay.
I just look at her kind of puzzled, like, I don't know what's going on here, but I don't like it. She should probably go back in the cage.
I'm gonna think at her. Why do these things want you anyway?
Oh, you know how it is. This plane is just a continuous field of evil and horrible things, and so any bit of light within the plane, it's just, they covet it. They want to take it and control it and make it dark and put out the light, and I think they think that's me, and...
Okay, but, like, really though, why do they want you?
Oh, I don't know.
What can you do?
A lot of things. I can do a lot of things.
Show me.
In the cage, right?
Well, she's tied up right now still.
Will I get in trouble?
Depends. Are you gonna hurt someone?
What? I don't have to. I mean, I can. She kind of like puffs out
Don't
her chest a little bit.
hurt anyone.
I'm a capable fighter.
Don't hurt anyone. Don't try to escape.
Okay.
What can you do?
She positions herself at the back of the vehicle, kind of does like a little readying stance, bracing her feet against the bed of the scavenger, thrusts her trunk out straight, and then lets out a little elephant trumpet. And as she trumpets, from her snout erupts a blast of sparkling light.
Incredible. We need this.
I love her.
As she uses her Trumpet of Sparkles ability.
I am in love. This is it.
And she says,
I've
"There,
been waiting
see?
for it."
Any evil creatures that were within that blast zone wouldn't be very happy after that."
I believe you.
This is
Well,
the most amazing thing.
This goes right along with Moonlight Sparkles.
And she
Like
says,
perfect.
"But wait, no, I can do another one.
BFFs.
Just don't lock me in. I'll show you." And she lets out another trumpet, but this time it just booms like the resound like Mara's Thunderstep spell, basically. Just resounds
Please
across
don't
the
damage
landscape.
this vehicle.
And the vehicle kind of like lurches
Oh, no.
forward a little bit.
Oh, no. I think that's enough. I get it.
And my tusks are very sharp too. She kind of like shows them off, but they're like these tiny little nubs, like smaller than daggers. So.
This is my favorite thing.
Look, I don't know what you've been talking to Mr. Darkhair over here about, but we have to bring you to this person.
I don't think you do. You can always have the choice to choose good instead of evil.
Well, I mean,
Everyone does.
yeah,
This is the person that tried to escape.
yeah, this is true. You could be good and obey us, or you could be bad and try to escape. Are you gonna choose good?
But if I obey someone who is bad, then doesn't that make me bad too?
I thought you were not bad.
Well, you're working with bad people
We're
and
not
doing
working
bad
with
things.
bad people.
How do you know that we're doing bad things?
You're delivering me to a friend of that wicked, wicked, wicked Mahadi.
How is he wicked?
Oh, he's totally wicked. I don't like him at all.
What did he do to
He was
you?
incredibly
He's a
mean to
personal
me.
envoy of Asmodeus.
Yeah.
He was so mean. He kept me locked in that cage, and when I would make noise or do things he didn't like, he'd splash me with that nasty water, and then it would make me forget things. I don't remember so
Oh yeah,
many
let
things.
me see that water that he gave you,
Okay.
since I can identify potions kind of with my potion making training.
Roll an Arcana Intelligence check.
Okay. That man, I'm not doing great today.
No, it is.
You can take advantage on this one if you want.
Well, I
If you
mean,
want. Yeah, no. Up to you. Didn't even need it.
Not better. 19.
Okay. It's not difficult to recognize what this is because you just saw a source of it. This is water from the river Styx.
Oh, okay. This is
Oh,
water
yeah.
from the river
I
Styx.
did say that. That's right.
Okay. So
Did
it's
he
really
say that? That's
gross
what it was.
and
He said that the Styx does adverse things like forgetfulness and stuff like that.
Oh.
Yeah, or that's what Seal.
Seal
Seal
does them,
did tell
yeah.
us.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're not gonna splash you with this water. That's just mean.
gross. Yeah.
Thaddeus, it is devolved into what is obviously a conversation you're not a part of.
I've been the nicest one to this elephant. I get locked out of the conversation.
We're not gonna splash you with this water, but we are gonna bring you to this whatever. fuck
Then you're just as
resort.
mean as Mahadi.
Look,
She
I'm.
like shouts in your brain.
You're a meanie.
Look,
You
We-
two will be nicer to me, right?
You're locked out of the telepathic conversation.
Did we know
She-
that you told?
Actually, it is just Zant at this point because Mara was the one who tied the knot
Yeah.
around her leg.
So I see all you guys kind of like.
Does she know that everything's gonna be okay?
I kept trying to tell her that, and she doesn't believe me.
But I mean, we didn't hear you because it was
no,
just
we
a
can't
conversation.
understand what
Okay.
he's
Yeah, I
told
was.
her,
That
what
whole
he said
conversation
to
was
him.
in Celestial.
All right.
Yeah.
So we can't promise things. Okay.
But
So I'm in this conversation with Lulu.
does she?
Oh,
If she understands common, that she heard me talking to the rest of you about
She
like,
does not understand.
oh, okay. Well, I did tell the rest of you that like, look, this is our plan, right? This is what we're gonna do, right?
So
Okay.
I'm gonna ask Lulu. Lulu, do you want some delicious food? What's your
She
favorite?
gives you a skeptical look. Roll a charisma check.
I'm not good at these, but I can hold on a good berry.
If you can roll better than a one, you're better than me.
Alright. 13.
She says,
And I'll eat one myself, and then I'll hand one to her.
when you eat it,
Yeah.
there's no like juice or anything like that. Like it doesn't taste like a berry. It's dry.
Oh,
and
weird.
It kind of tastes like dirt.
Really?
Yeah, but you feel the like restorative magical property of it. It just tastes disgusting.
I'm gonna gain an HP. I am hurt. And then I'll be puzzled like, wow, does everything taste like this? And I'll like ask Lulu, be like,
Yo, yes, the food here is
I'm
horrible.
sorry.
mean,
I didn't
if
mean to
they-
lie
if
to
they
you. I thought
feed
it
you at
tasted
all.
good. But I'll hand it to her anyways. But do you want to try it?
I am quite hungry.
Here you go. And I'll give her.
And she gives you a look.
a good
It's
berry.
not poison.
I just ate one.
She takes it in her trunk and tosses it in her mouth, and then goes bleh, and like
I
sticks out
know.
her tongue.
Yeah, and I'll be like, yeah, it doesn't
That's
taste good.
awful.
I know. I didn't think it'd be that bad. I guess it's this place, isn't it?
No,
But I tried it too. So
I do feel full though. So that's nice.
me too.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll give you like, Lulu, why don't you trust us?
She kind of she gets like a grimace on her face, and she says, well, I don't like it, but I can't trust anyone down here to begin with.
Lulu, I think you have to trust us. We're the last thing that you
Believe
have.
me, I want to be your friend. There's nothing in the world that I love more than friends.
We want to be your friend too, Lulu. After watching that amazing display that you did, that's all we want.
Well, then don't put me back in the cage.
Maybe we won't. But you have to trust us.
Did you ever roll that charisma check?
Yeah, I
That was for the
13.
berry though.
Yeah.
Roll one more.
Don't make
take
me do it. Don't make me do it
advantage.
again. Okay.
Uh,
I'm the lowest charisma person
I
here.
know.
+0, guys. Ooh. Let's go to 18.
13. Okay. She looks you in the eyes as
And I
if
look
she
back.
is searching your soul to the best of her ability, and she says, "Okay,
Okay.
I'll
Great.
trust you."
Thank you.
And you feel the telepathic channel open back up to all of you. And Lulu says, I've decided that I'm going to trust you, but you're all on thin ice. And if you're bad people, then I'm gonna trumpet of sparkles you.
And I'll say you're welcome, everyone. I'll
And
just sit back in the chair.
as this telepathic conversation goes on for some time, as you trundle your way across the plains, eventually you know that you will reach your destination of the crypt of the Shattered Gibbous. But you're having this telepathic conversation with Lulu and all of you, and it just starts to dawn on every single one of you that is participating in the conversation, that as you're communicating telepathically with Lulu, you can feel, it's almost like back with Kuor, there's some other presence listening in, and that's how we're going to end tonight's episode.
Yeah.
I knew that stupid hag did something. I don't know what though.
We know, but unfortunately our characters do not.
At 25, looking for it.
I'm not sure how much better you could have done there.
Yeah.
So thank you everyone who tuned in to watch. Hope you enjoyed. We'll be back with more of this next Monday, 7 p.m. Pacific time. Hope you tune in. Hope to see you back then. So thanks for watching. Bye.
Good night. Bye.